Welcome to the Low-Carb MD podcast. No one is beyond help. No one is beyond hope.
As we have always said, we are bringing you medical information and cutting-edge science, but none of this is medical advice. Please seek out input from your own doctor. Welcome to the Low-Carb MD podcast. We have a recurring guest, a gentleman who's been here now, it's his fourth appearance on the Low-Carb MD podcast. We love him. He's the low-carb beast. He's, active at every meeting on the app, active on the app, active on social media. We have Vic Basmadjian, and if you have not seen his before and after, go follow him on Twitter, Low-Carb Beast, right? I got it right, Low-Carb Beast?
Yep.
And he's a health coach. He got a certification through Nutrition Network. And a little birdie told me he's nearly done with his MHP certification. Vic, awesome to have you back. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great. Always happy to be here. Always, it's such an honor and a privilege to be here and to share and to hopefully inspire people and, show them that there's a way out of this crazy obesity trap. And it's never too late, and always glad to share and inspire people and help them start their journeys or wherever they are in their journeys.
So for the people who don't know, and for the people who are maybe sort of meeting you for the first time and listening to you for the first time, they may not know your story, and we happen to meet online. People may not know this. We happen to meet online. It turns out we are connected, through family relationships, and it's just such a small world how we're actually connected. We didn't know, but we found each other sort of on social media. And I remember even just calling you up when you were in Canada, when you were first starting. And this is like maybe 5-6 years ago now. And but before we get to your nutritional journey, can you tell us about what it was like growing up in a ethnic Armenian sort of culture, society up in Canada, your relationship to food, your weight struggles, can you walk us through the first half of the journey for the people who may have not heard episode 46?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. When I say I've been battling obesity for a lifetime, it's a statement that shouldn't be taken lightly. When I say lifetime, I mean lifetime. I mean from the age of 7 or 8 years old. I was, overweight from a very young age, obese at a very young age, back to elementary school and through high school, and always battling weight. Well, at the beginning, there was no battle. It was just a progressive increase and increase and increase. And it was only at one point in high school where I attempted to start losing weight. But, growing up in the typical Armenian household, always an abundance of carbohydrates. We have a lot of dishes that involve a good amount of carbohydrates. We like our rice, we like our bread, we like our boreks and what have you. And it's not that we don't have any protein in our cuisine, but it's like, God forbid, it's sacrilege if there's no bread on the table, if there's no rice on the table. It's like, how can you survive without bread or rice? And so grew up like that. At a younger age, I'd come home from school, and I guess like any other, I don't think it's only ethnic thing. I think it's probably to all kids when they come home from school, you got a bag of Oreo cookies in front of you, or you got some Doritos, and snacking till supper is ready, and just overall. So much consumption on processed foods, and then even the stuff that wasn't processed, the carbohydrates, the heavier carbohydrates. And then in the Armenian culture, it's always like, there's a direct translation to this, and Tro will understand it. It's like, eat, my son, eat more, and have some more, and have some more. And mom doesn't know how to stop, putting it on your plate. And it's like, it's a sign of love. It's a sign of affection. And whether it's your family or whether it's your friends, food is a big part of our culture. So it's always, it's a way of respecting somebody. It's a way of showing love. It's like anybody else. It's for the social circle as well. And there was always an abundance. And like I said, at a very young age, I was obese. I was in, early years of high school. I was already beyond 200 pounds. I was in the, 210, 220 in the early years of high school. And by the time I graduated high school, I was, 250, 260. And then it went on and on and on until in my adult life, came close to tipping 300 pounds.
Can I share a story that a mutual friend of ours would say, who was so amazed at your progress? But, I was talking about my vulnerabilities as a young kid. We would go to, let's just say, Armenian Boy Scouts, or we would go to a youth group, or we would go to, and then what happens at these youth groups? What did we do? Afterwards, where did we go? We went to get pizza. And I've been very vocal about my sort of vulnerability with pizza. I was explaining this, our mutual contact. Like, I would be able to eat 3-4 slices, turn around 1 hour later, eat another 3-4 slices without even batting an eye, right? And we know now, the scientific literature says, you eat those pizza, your blood sugar goes up, it comes back down, and you're hungry for more. And I said to him, I had no problem eating a pizza, right? And it was easy. And you came up in that conversation because I was talking to him about how, these community events, they're great because they bring the community together, but they could be real triggers, these social events. And lo and behold, he says, the one thing I remember, I was a young kid, he was saying that Vic was the same way as you, the same way as you. He could throw down a half a pizza, 1 hour later, eat another half a pizza, and it hit me then when he said that. It's like, we're not the only ones, it's not you and I, right? Because now you go to these events and all those people I went who were thin before, they all look like how we used to look.
That's right. That's right.
Now they're eating 3-4 slices, eat another slice later. And it hit me like, obesity is not so much of it may be more of a social disease than it is a genetic disease. But but what he saw, even as a young kid, he was younger than you, and when he saw you as this community leader, was, man, that guy can eat. And so it hit me like, so at what point did you know, hey, wait a second, this food has got a hold on me? Because at some point you said enough was enough. And I don't even know that I know what was that tipping point for you, where enough was enough. But at what point did you know this food may have had a hold over you?
Well, the tipping point and the enough was enough point was, when the metabolic issues, I got put on blood pressure pills. I was on blood pressure medication as early as age of 25. So I was on blood pressure medication until the so-called enough is enough for 30 years before the enough is enough came up. But then accompanied to that was, getting to be pre-diabetic, sleeping with a CPAP machine. And so by the age of 55, the metabolic issues were a lot more severe, and they were just piling up. Aside from, it's not that I didn't try before. It's not that there was always the enough is enough. It's like, I'm fed up. I can't take this. The yo-yo dieting kept going. I've lost hundreds and hundreds of pounds throughout the years. I just couldn't make it stick. Okay. So that was the biggest problem. It's not that I never tried and I never said enough is enough before. And for all intents and purposes, is had I not fallen in, on low carb keto, and had I not crossed your path, I maybe the enough is enough would have still been going on, because if I kept going on, restriction and calorie counting and low fat and white knuckling, which I did all the other times, yeah, it came off, but then it would come right back on with a vengeance, and I'd gain even more. And I mean, we know this to be a thing that it's not uncommon for it to happen. And so the enough was at 55 years old, was fortunate enough to fall on this lifestyle, was fortunate enough to come across your path, and I've been able to make it stick because of the way that, they say it's restrictive and unsustainable, and I beg to differ that it was all the other methods that I had done throughout my life that were restrictive and unsustainable.
Help me understand, because do you think that so some people say, well, it's not the nutrition, it was the mindset. It's the mindset difference. Some people would say, well, now you're just eating less. You found a way to eat less and sustain it. Help me understand, like, how do you think it was the nutrition? Do you think it was the mindset and the behavior? Do you think it was a combination? Do you think it was, a community that sort of helped you just keep this going? Or was your head in a different space where, like, I'm going to tackle this? And what do you think, if you had to, give a percentage of your own journey, how much is nutrition? How much is mindset? How much is behavior? How much is community? How much is, because from where you were then now to where you are now, now you're invested in sort of learning, you've become certified, you're getting even more certifications, you've helped countless people that we know, inspired probably countless people. So what do you think the secret sauce is for you, at least?
I think at the very beginning, it's probably 80% nutrition, okay, and 20% mindset at the beginning. But that moving down the road, that shifts and that changes, okay. At the beginning, when I say it's nutrition, it's because it's finally realizing that aha moment that, oh my God, I'm not hungry. And this is what you never had in the other approaches. You were always hungry. You were always white knuckling. You couldn't wait for your next meal, and you couldn't make it to your next meal. And then even today, when I'm talking to people that I'm helping, it's music to my ears when about a month down the road, they say, I can't believe I'm not hungry. And, and all this while telling them, eat as much as you want, don't count a calorie, don't worry about quantity, just eat till you're full. So this is like for somebody who's been, overweight, obese, all their lives, and they've been told eat less and move more, and now you're all of a sudden you're telling them, just don't worry about it, just eat, but eat the proper foods. Eat, you give them a guide, you guide them of what they're going to eat. Having said that, moving forward, this changes. I believe very strongly that if it was just set on this alone, I don't know if I would still be, I could have had the chance of, let's say, falling off or relapsing. I think what community comes in big time on that. Education comes in big time on that. Support, surrounding yourself with mind-like people, I think it's very important. Having the toolbox to understand that this journey is never over. Just, it's like people tell me, Vic, you're like, you're an exception. But I say, I'm no exception. Okay. I can show you plenty of people that are as successful as what I've done. But one thing I know is all the ones that are successful, we all have that same commonality that we are involved in community. We are involved in support groups in an app like your app. Such a wonderful community with, you know, so many people helping each other, cheering each other on. I think that's a huge part of it. Okay. And I mean, the more you hear it, the more you listen to it, the more it becomes part of you. And then the mindset starts getting even stronger. And once that mindset is so strong, I believe this is the key component. It's never easy. It never goes away. We never stop learning. Amy had said something not long ago, and I agree with her. Amy Agus, you know, is the health coach with Dr. Tro, for those listening. You know, it's nice we put our before and after pictures on Twitter and this and that, and you know, people think that it's, you know, it's easy and we have no issues and we have no struggles. You know, not true. You know, not true. Okay, it's a constant battle. We no matter how long you're doing this, you know, there's going to be struggles at points. It's being able to know what you're going to do when those struggles come along. And where do you learn this? You learn this through community. You learn this through groups, support groups, educating yourself, going to low carb conferences, what have you, all this packaged together. And because life is never going to stop throwing curveballs at you. So you better be ready. I don't care, the most seasoned low carb person, when you're having a hard day, when you're having a hard time, when there's stressful moments in your life, you know, that demon is going to light up and you're going to want to go for some bad choices. But if you're aware of this and you know how to counter defense that, that's how you're going to hang on long term.
Can I tell you, this is so insightful, actually, what you're saying, it's beyond insightful. I agree with you. The first 3 years for me was all nutrition. Okay. The last 5 years has been all support community, pragmatic, you know, mindset, resiliency, discipline, you know, and just a tiny amount on nutrition. It's almost like a complete swap. Once you get the nutrition down, then it's like you have this whole other world of stuff to focus on. How was my sleep? What is my activity like? How do I manage stress? How do I cope with my emotions? How do I handle social situations? How do I handle, you know, relaxing and enjoying myself with my community, my friends? How do I deal with ailments? You know, that's been my big journey over the past 2 years, is 3 years after I got into my car accident and had spinal surgery, you know, and now my lower back is a wreck. How do I navigate around that? How do I continue to progress with what life has thrown at me? And, you know, I think those are not things that have anything to do with nutrition, you know? And so I agree with you. I think when you're first starting, and for myself, you know, early on, nutrition and exercise were paramount. Now, at this point, it's all my stress, my sleep, my resiliency, and my tenacity. You know,
100%. And it's once somebody starts to realize why they're getting those hunger cues and why it's happening, and realizing that they're hungry the next morning is, you know, good chances that if you didn't have a good night's sleep, you know, and you're somebody who's usually getting by on a 16/8 intermittent fasting schedule, but if you had a terrible session of sleep, you might wake up and be struggling to get to noon because you had a terrible night of sleep. And so once people realize these things, and these are things that you learn through community and groups and support groups and educating yourself, or knowing that, you know, why am I hungry in the morning? I know why I'm hungry. I either had a bad night's sleep most times, Or I treated myself with a keto treat the night before. And you know what? I know when I have a hit of sweet, that chances are it's going to light up my hunger the day after. That's how I am, at least, and I know a lot of people to be that way.
100%. You know, the common themes I see with long-term low carbers, you know, the most common things I see are the sweet taste, right? So the sweeteners can sort of light up those areas in the brain and reignite those hunger. You know, dark chocolate, low carb replacement foods, to some extent nuts and cheese as well. Those are the foods that people at least say to me they're struggling with, you know, and that sort of rekindle the beast, and they have to, you know, just pay attention, you know, or at least travel cautiously around.
That's my approach. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, so I totally agree. I'm very cautious. These are you know, be it sweets, be it, you know, when I say sweets, let's make it completely clear, low carb replacement treats. Okay, I'll never endeavor of having of whatever sweet. It will be a low carb replacement sweet or nuts or cheese. I'm just very mindful of how often I have it, and I'm mindful of how often I have it around in the house. If I have nuts at my disposal at all times, even though I'm 6 years into this, I'll probably be looking for a lot of trouble, and I'll be, you know, overeating them. So I try to, if I have a hankering for it, I'll have some. My biggest defense with that is I'll have nuts when I go to my mom's house, and she says, "Here, take some home with you." I say, "No, keep it here. I'll have my share when I'm back next week." Same thing with sweets. I'll make sure that I'm making sweets when the kids are coming over, or if we have guests coming over. Make sure I make a batch, have my share of it, and even if I have to give it away with the, you know, when I say give it away, I mean just send it away with the others, not keep it in the house, get it out of the way. This is how I navigate it. It will always be part of my journey. I believe to make it sustainable, speaking for myself at least, it has to be part of your journey. It has to be part of my journey. Some people are totally fine without it. I need it to be successful, but I have to be mindful of how much of it I have, or else it could end up being a slippery slope.
Yeah, I mean, and then again, these are things that are outside of sort of the common mantras of basic sort of nutrition principles, and these are things that, you know, are individual. Like my Rosette, my wife, she could literally eat a sweet thing, and like I don't know, the other day, I don't know what it was, like a Quest peanut butter cup. She took a bite, literally, and the package just sat there for weeks. And eventually I threw it out. I was just so tired of seeing it. But like that sweet taste doesn't trigger her, right? She can look at a plate of nuts and walk the other way, right? But for me, these things call to me. So I think that part is individual, and people have to be, you know, they can't always listen to like your individual relationship to food. Nobody can guide you on, right? And that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to sort of have general frameworks. And we've built those frameworks into the app. How to lower your carbs, how to focus on real foods, how to replace what you can't restrict. But then there's just individual things. And there's issues sort of related to your personal relationship to food and this journey that sometimes require coaching. And I'm sure you've noticed that as a coach, you know, over the last several years you've been coaching, I know that, you know, each person is different, and some of the tools they need, other people don't need. And some of the tools they don't need, other people need. I'm just curious, as a coach, has your understanding of yourself and has that changed coaching others?
Yes, it has. Like you said, it's very individual. At the very beginning, it was like, before I was coaching, was like you're more of that mindset that this is going to work, every approach is going to work for every individual. But then once you start learning and once you have a better understanding and once you start coaching, it's, you know, that it's not the same approach for every single person. And this is why it's funny, sometimes I coach friends, okay? They're close, they know each other, and they start, you know, comparing what one is doing to what the other's doing. And I tell them, guys, please don't apply what I told you to person A to person B, because it's not the same. I may be giving that one other person more tolerance on a certain direction and less tolerance on for the other person for the exact same thing, okay? So especially if one is starting off at, what they don't understand is, somebody starting off at 280 pounds, it's not the same as somebody who's starting off at 220 pounds. So, you know, it could be more, you know, things like that, and a lot of other, I mean, that's the smallest of examples. So, you know, there's the pillars that are the same for everybody, the immovable pillars, which is, you know, keep it low carb and try to, you know, keep it under 30 grams of carbs a day. But then the approach can be not necessarily the same for each individual. So yeah, it has to be different. It has to be based on the habits of the person, based on the lifestyle of that person. Does that approach fit that person's lifestyle? Does it not fit it? And need to work around and find a suitable way that it could be incorporated into that person's life.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that you know, we've worked now with thousands of patients, and you know, the amazing thing about coaching and helping people is, you know, you begin to see you know, a big arsenal of ways of dealing with things, you know, and it's sort of like, as the more you coach people, the better coach you become, right? And that to me solidifies the point that, you know, everybody is learning, right? Everybody is constantly learning, right? Everybody's constantly, like, if I'm still learning 10 years in or 8 years in or however many years in, like residency, medical school, all of that, if I'm still learning here, right? 20 years in, like, each individual person is something to learn, you know, at every point in their journey. But I agree with you. There are those core pillars, you know, and those core pillars are, you know, I think are sound pillars. Low in sugar and processed carbohydrates, right? That's a core pillar. 93% of the population has a component of metabolic syndrome, right? That's a core pillar. Don't eat if you're not hungry, right? Unless it's a triggering environment that you're going to need to protect yourself. That's intermittent fasting, right? And then movement. Movement is so critical. This is just a core pillar. When your body starts to feel good, move. You know, and I agree with you. These core pillars, you call them pillars, we call them levers. You know, they can be pushed without a coach. I think it's like, okay, if you're looking for help and you're looking to, you know, sort of get more insight in less time, you know, that's where the beauty of a coach comes in. It's like, we can all go change our own tires when we get a flat tire. When was the last time you changed it? Well, you're in the car business, so I can't ask you. I can't ask you this big, but what do most of us do? We have a service to call.
Call AAA.
They call AAA, right? Call AAA. I mean, if you can change it yourself, you will. You won't go through the hassle, right? But we get help. How can we make getting great metabolic care that easy? And this is where the meetings came into play during the pandemic. This is where the app came into play. This is where remote, you know, scales, remote blood pressure cuffs, continuous glucose monitors came into play. The idea is doctors should, at the least, you know, this part of everybody's life, which is we want to get healthy and stay healthy. Doctors should be able to address it first and foremost. And they should at least have the customer service of AAA. At the least. Hey, I need help. I have a flat tire. We should be able to do that when it comes to lifestyle. We should be able to have a little check engine light, right? That notifies the user, hey, look, you may need some help, right? And so we should be as easy as an app. We should have it, like if our bank account has an app helping us manage our budget. How do we do this in medicine? And so, that's been the focus of my career, and it's finding those amazing people. Those amazing people, just like you, like Amy. You mentioned Amy Igus. You mentioned Brian. You may have not mentioned, but Brian Wiley, Alice, and I got to be honest with you. I'm a fan of the low carb beast, and I hear, I hear that a little birdie said he's retiring soon, or at least going part-time soon. And I'm excited for what may happen next for him. Let's put it that way. So tell us where you are in your own life, and, what does life have in store for you? You're finishing your MHP and finishing other things. What does life have in store for you?
Yeah, it's, I've gone to a stage in my life where, pretty soon going to be coming to an end of my 40-year career in the automotive industry. Pretty soon I'll be cutting it down to a lighter schedule, and working like a shorter week. And we'll see, moving forward.
I hear you could be joining a very rambunctious New York, nationwide practice. I hear that that's a possibility. Are the rumors true?
Yeah, very, very, very high probability that it's a good rumor.
Very high probability, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
We would be. Can I just say something, Vic? We would be so happy to have you come on as a health coach. We would be so happy. Your wealth of experience, your personal journey, you inspire people online. I mean, the fact that, you're in this, you've brought one of the first low carb mixes to Canada. I mean, like you are so clearly in this, and you're at every single nutrition network. You went to Boca. Maybe you should tell us about that, how that was like. But you are it's very rare to find somebody so invested and, and actually wanting to help people, actually wanting to help people. And you know what it is? I know what it is. You lived a life of this. You don't want this for anybody.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's, I appreciate your words of kindness. Yeah, it's my passion. I live and breathe and sleep this. Like you mentioned, I don't think no child, no teenager, or no elderly person should have to have a bad quality of life because of nutrition, because of bad choices of nutrition, and that it's so avoidable. Nobody has to go through what I went through. Nobody has to go through what any of us in this, like the majority of us who are really passionate in this space, like you said, have battled this throughout their life, and they know what it's like, and they know the feeling. And so when we finally found a way to be able to navigate this, and like, how could you not want to share it? How could you not want to help people feel the same thing, get the same chance? So yeah, it's my passion. Like you said, it would be a dream complete for me as well, going down that path. So hopefully good things will be coming.
So what was it like? Because you went to, now you've gotten certification, and you've gone to Nutrition Network, you're finishing up MHP. what was it, and you went to, I think the Boca conference was your first conference.
The first, yeah. It's been a few years that I was following virtually,
Yeah.
but this January was the first time I went live. And if I wasn't invested enough already and motivated already, that experience just took it to the next level as well. Finally meeting so many people that you've met through social media but never had a chance to meet in person. I was roomed up, I was bunked up with Brian Wiley. So I'm having like great conversation in the evenings in the room, and meeting so many people, meeting so many the giants of the industry, and everybody, every single one of them was so humble and so gentle, and I was, let's say 99% of them, okay, were no chip on the shoulder, take the time to speak to you and engage in conversation. And it's like you said, like, wow, is this really happening? I mean, I know Tro, I know you, we've met, we've had meals together, I know you closely, so it's always nice to see you.
Actually, we got to have you over. You had us over. So you know what? We're going to have you over. That's what we do.
So, it was like, okay, is this happening here? I'm having breakfast with the Unwins, having supper with Ben Bokikio, having lunch with Nina Teicholz. Is this really happening? Is this, and like I said, the best part of it was just having good conversation and just their kindness to share, and just like, more than happy to share and have conversation with you. So, and like meeting all the other regular people like myself, and that through social media, and it was a great feeling. People came up to me and so you're Vic, yes, and thank you. You've helped me so much. You've inspired me so much. And like, you don't know them, and they're following you on Twitter, and you don't even know it. And so it's like, sometimes you say, is it worth what I'm doing here on Twitter? Is anybody really listening? But there's more people listening than you would like to think.
Can I tell you 100%? For every like 5 people you interact with, I mean, I know people in my practice who are like, that guy Vic, especially over the last year and a half, where you've been sort of, you were never a big, huge exerciser, if I remember correctly. And you've been crushing it in the gym. And people come to me like, if Vic can go to the gym, and we worked out together, we went to Sisako, when I was up in Montreal, and when they see you crushing it in the gym, I think they get inspired, like if, hey, that gray-haired man can go, crush it in the gym, that soon to be grandpa, wait, you're not a grandpa, right? Not there
yet. No, we got a wedding coming.
I saw an engagement, I think, coming, right?
Well, engagement done at wedding in 2 weeks.
Oh, wedding in 2 weeks. Okay, got it. So, look, bottom line is, they're inspired, and that's one thing I've been wanted to ask you. You've kicked up. So like, here you are 6-7 years into your journey, and now you're doing something new. You're exercising. So can you walk me through that? What did it take for you to start that part of your journey? Because that's something completely new for you.
Yeah. It's exactly what you said. Just like you said, there's people coming up to you and saying, this guy Vic, and he inspired. Somebody inspired me, right? So it's a circle. And this inspiration comes within the community, okay? And so I lost all my weight with no more than, well, when I was on my heaviest, all I was doing was just going for a regular walk. When you're pushing 300 pounds, it's kind of tough to do anything but. And then, so like in the first 50 pounds or so, all it was walking. And then the last 50 pounds, the last 60 pounds was a more vigorous walk and to an occasional bike ride, and that's all it was. And then at one point, throughout the community, I mean, the people that inspired me in particular was, you have Chris Cornell, the biggest comeback, and Bob Collins, Lions Fit for Life. Now, why would I be inspired by them? Well, first of all, they have tremendous, journeys and stories themselves, but we're in the same age group, right? Couple of years up, couple of years down. So I say, so hell, if Chris and Bob are doing this at the gym, why wouldn't I be able to do it? Why shouldn't I give it a go? What's my excuse, And they inspired me. That they were the ones who were posting, Bob at his early morning workouts at the gym, and Chris pushing all that weight. And now, you see Chris, he just ran the New York Marathon, and I don't think I'm ever going to be a marathon runner, but but just to say, it's all community and getting inspired by others in the community. That's how it is, and I just found a love for it. Like we always say, you gotta love what you're doing. I got myself a trainer who put a good program together for me, that I enjoy what I'm doing. Don't hate the exercise you're doing. Find an exercise that you enjoy doing. I have found passion for resistance training and lifting, so it might be something else for somebody else, but whatever it is, just make sure you're enjoying it. It shouldn't be a punishment. It should be that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I just want to give 2 shout outs. Well, one to Bob, who's here. Bob's local to our practice and just an awesome guy. Comes to our meetings and absolutely another. He's been on the podcast. I got to look up which episode it is, but he's certainly been an inspiration to others. Also, he goes to the Plet, which we all know. He goes to the Planet Fitness, and we see him there doing his exercise. He's also kept his weight off, a survivor. They shared that before. And I want to give a special shout out to Chris Cornell. So, because people may not know this, when I was just a social media punk, he took an interest in me and he helped my practice really get up and started, not just my practice, Philip Ovadia's practice, Brian Lenskis's practice. And he was so instrumental into doing that. And I know he's helped so many other people. So if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I'm just getting started, or I want specialized marketing help in this sort of space, he's the guy to go to. Definitely the guy to go to. So big shout out to Chris Cornell.
Can I make a correction and at the same time keep him accountable?
Yeah.
Mr. Collins has not been on the podcast.
What?
Mr. Collins, I know, was invited several times to be on the podcast, and he was supposed to pick a date, which he never did. So he knows he's laughing right now, and I can't see him, but he's laughing.
How is that possible?
So you got to stay after him, Tro. You got to stay after him.
Uh-oh. Are we going to bring him up here or not yet?
I'll pull him up right now. Just to make him commit.
We're gonna make him commit. He may not want to. He may not want to, but we'll see. Oh man, I just put him on the spot. Let's see. Uh-oh.
Take that picture down. Come on live, Bobby.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Is this true, Bob? Am I, you know what? It's the ketones in my brain. It's the low blood sugar. My brain may be not working the way it's supposed to be. I could swear you came on the podcast. Did I make that up?
No. So I did, within our own Tuesday group, I shared my story within our own Tuesday group, not on low carb MD yet.
Okay. When
Yeah.
can we get you on the books now, or we can't do that? Or
We can't do that yet. I have to get my calendar out, but Vic
Okay.
is right. Vic is right on target. When he mentioned that, I was hysterical here laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You've been avoiding us, huh? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to get you on. We got to get you on.
Okay.
I can't believe I made that up.
It's okay.
Believe I made that up. Everything's good with you?
Everything's well. Very, very good. Thank you.
Good. All
And
right.
I became the grandfather recently.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. God bless.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna put you on hold, and then we're gonna wrap up here with Vic.
Okay.
Vic, any parting words for the person? Anything else you want to mention before we call it a day? And any parting words for the person just listening in?
Yeah, and I'm gonna maybe stretch it out a little bit, but I won't stretch it out too long. I want to recap of how you talk about community and the importance and all that, and how this, I think it's a core component. And so like credit's got to be given where credit is due. And so like back in 2020, when the pandemic started, you started a support group out of nowhere just on Facebook. And for people to have somewhere to have a coping mechanism and attend those meetings every week. And because, we were all locked down and we didn't know what to do, and, the pressure, the stress, and the overeating, that helped countless people to help survive. Now that everybody get out of it without gaining weight, or, maybe gaining a little bit of weight, or at best survival mode and not gaining, which is, maybe not continuing to lose, but staying in survival mode. So that was like something that was like, that was something so amazing and so important for people, and it's something that I attended every single one of those meetings, and I saw the value, and I saw how much it helped people, and I saw it helped me. Like you said, we never stop learning. It's like, I don't say I know how to do this. I don't need to be at that group. No, you hear the people's struggles. You hear it renews what you're struggling with. It renews what you want to, how you want to better yourself. And then it evolved from there to being, from that COVID group, it evolved to being a permanent group. And so we moved on, and a beautiful community was created. And now it has now
8,000 users. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
8,000 users.
And
on the Dr. Tro app.
Yeah, and now the app has become even a larger, like you said, 8,000 strong community, with sincere people, with people who people who are just getting started, people who are in the middle, people who are veterans. You have a combination of all kinds of people, but everybody's there with the same reason. Okay, it's a safe place. You can be vulnerable. You can talk about, if you're struggling, and somebody's going to help you, and somebody's going to support you. And, or if you're having success, celebrate your success. Community is huge. And so for any of you listeners, who are not part of this amazing app, the education it gives and what have you. And like I said, whether you're a starter, whether you're in the middle, whether you're a veteran, there's something to be taken away with it. It's an amazing tool. And Dr. Tro, kudos to you. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we've been trying, and there's still things yet to come. We now have nationwide CGMs, nationwide CGMs. We've been trying to work on this for 2 years. So you can get a CGM right through the app. That took a long time to do. We have a get help now. People weren't calling. We said, if you ever need help, text us in real time. And I've wanted this for 6 years. I was like, we need a place to go where if somebody just needs help, they can go in and get 10 people, 20 people who've been on this journey to give them help, volunteer, so they don't feel like they're bothering anybody. Even though they pay for our service, they didn't want to bother us. So we got a Get Help Now feature on the app where people could just go get help. And it's just been so inspiring to see people, help out. We have a weight loss curriculum, and Dr. Matt Calkins, you guys will meet him, and Dr. Laura Buchanan, they're working on creating a fully expansive medical curriculum. So there's a lot of cool stuff, and I'm just so happy to work with people who are, just like you and Brian Wiley and Amy Igus and, who really just, we're trying to pick people up away from what we were stuck in. And all I can say is I got the best job in the world. I get to work with awesomest people. I get to help people every day, and that's what we do. And I'm happy to have met you. I'm happy to have honored to have met you. Keep learning, from you, seeing you inspiring people. Just want to say thank you.
Feelings mutual.
Yeah, and now I got to get Bob. Now you got me. Well, Bob, you got to come on. That's it. It's done. Bob's gonna be coming on. All right. Any parting words? So, guys, if you want to follow Vic on social media, it's Low Carb Beast. Any other places people can find you, Vic? Anywhere they should go? They should visit.
They can go on. They can, if they want to see my replace what you can't restrict food options. They can find me on Keto Coach Vic on Instagram.
Okay. And you're still doing the mixes, right? If you're in Canada, right? You're still doing the mixes, or tell me what's.
The mixes I have it on hold right now.
Okay.
We'll catch up on that. I'll let you know what's happening, but
okay.
It's going to be a matter of where I want to put all my efforts.
Yeah.
And you know which way I'm leaning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. Certainly, we'll figure it all out, guys. At Low Carb Beast, KetoCoach.ca, right? Did I get that?
No, Keto Coach Vic on Instagram.
Oh, Keto Coach Vic on Instagram. Okay. All right. It's been a pleasure, Vic.
Thank you, Tro. See you at the next meeting.